Hello, and welcome to the Academic Center for Writing presentation on the rhetorical device known as irony. This presentation was written and narrated by Scott Powers, a writing specialist at Mountain View College. Irony is one of the most complex of the literary devices, in that it is often difficult to explain, but fairly easy to recognize when it is used effectively. Irony involves setting up the audience for a particular expected outcome and then presenting a contradictory or even opposite meaning, action, or result. Although hipsters may make claims of being ironic, many times they misuse the term. People often confuse irony with coincidence. Two or more chance occurrences may seem related, but if there was no planning involved, in other words, when events simply come together, they are coincidental, not ironic, although there may be accidental ironic overtones within the coincidence. One thing that makes irony such a difficult term to define is that it appears in so many forms, each as individual an expression of the concept that it seems removed from the others, yet all fall under the umbrella of ironic function. Although irony can be a component of comedy, not all comedy is ironic, nor is all irony comical. Irony lies within the disconnection between what is expected or said and what happens or is meant. The most commonly used form of irony is verbal irony. Understating and overstating are both extreme degrees of an actual point being made. Most everyone has used sarcasm in a conversation at some point, stating the opposite of what is meant, either as an insult or observational contradiction. Nice day, isn't it? Some verbal irony, understatement, occurs when one deliberately downplays the significance of something. In other words, when something that is actually quite important is presented as no big deal, such as in the first example. Understatement also occurs in litotes, wherein something affirmative is expressed as the negative of its contrary, or even as a double negative for effect. Overstatement, also called exaggeration or hyperbole, expresses an extreme condition that is far beyond actuality, sometimes to the point of ridiculousness or impossibility. I've been waiting in this line forever. In literature, the tall tales, such as those of the giant lumberjack Paul Bunyan, rely on overstatement to emphasize his might, willingness to work hard, and ability to overcome obstacles. Dramatic irony is used as a plot device to create situations where the reader knows much more about the episodes and the resolutions before the chief character or characters. By allowing the audience to know more things ahead of the characters, dramatic irony puts them superiorly above the characters and encourages them to anticipate the moment when the character discovers the truth behind the situations and events of the story. Socrates taught his students by asking them pointed questions and having them find the answers to explain to him. Socratic irony occurs when a character pretends ignorance so that others may expose truths ostensibly hidden from the inquirer. Parents will often use this technique to elicit admissions of children's misbehavior, knowing full well what the child has done, but pretending they do not. Situational irony exists when what is expected to happen differs from what actually happens. In this example, One would probably expect that an acute sense of hearing would be essential to any composer, especially one of Beethoven's ilk. It is an ironic testament to his brilliance that he was able to compose some of the greatest works in music based on what was heard only between his ears, rather than with them. It becomes a more tragic irony when one considers that he never heard his own compositions performed. Murphy's Law pessimistically states that anything that can go wrong will. The idea is that no matter how hard you try, at the worst possible occasion in which something could actually go wrong, it will, in the most unforeseen way and with the most tragic circumstances. Irony of fate, or cosmic irony, posits that the universe, fate, God, whoever, amuse themselves by toying with the pathetic attempts of humans to achieve their puny measures of success. So, now for a bit of fun. Is it ironic, or is it coincidence? Thank you for watching this presentation on the rhetorical device known as irony. For questions about this or any other aspect of your writing, please come by the Academic Center for Writing at Mountain View College in room W114. Thanks again for watching.